A slow, deep cinematographic zoom on a stormy ocean or a busy, chaotic city street. The lighting is moody, transitioning into a warm, candlelit room with old leather books. Text on screen appears slowly. Deep, slow, ambient cinematic background music starts, soft and relaxing, setting a reflective tone. Have you ever felt like your mind is a courtroom where you are constantly being accused of crimes you haven't committed or disasters that haven't happened yet? That is anxiety. It is not just stress, it is a heavy, invisible fog that settles over your thoughts, distorting reality, speeding up your heartbeat, and whispering that something terrible is about to happen. In our modern world, we are told that the cure for anxiety is always external. Buy this, change your job, escape to an island, scroll through social media to distract your brain. But the ancient philosophers known as the Stoics discovered a profound secret over 2,000 years ago. Anxiety does not come from the events around you. It comes from the thoughts you build inside your own head. Welcome back. Today, we are going to dive deep into a complete guide on how to dismantle anxiety using the timeless, practical wisdom of Stoicism. If your mind has been feeling like a chaotic storm lately, think of these next 40 minutes as an anchor. We will explore 8 core Stoic lessons from great thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. These are not abstract theories. These are real, battlefield-tested tools to help you take back absolute control of your mind. Pour yourself a warm drink, sit back, close any distracting tabs, and let's give your mind the stillness it deserves. Let us begin. Lesson 1. The dichotomy of control. Our first and foundational lesson comes from Epictetus, a man who was born into slavery but rose to become one of the most influential teachers in human history. Epictetus taught that the very first step in clearing the mind is what philosophers call the dichotomy of control. Epictetus famously wrote, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." Think about why you feel anxious right now. Is it because of an upcoming exam? A medical test? What someone said about you behind your back? Or perhaps the unpredictable state of the economy? Look closely at those fears. Every single one of them belongs to the category of things you cannot directly control. You cannot control the grade the teacher gives you. You can only control how much you study. You cannot control what other people think of you. You can only control how you behave. Anxiety thrives when we take 100% of our emotional energy and invest it into things where we have 0% control. Imagine trying to steer a ship by commanding the wind. It is foolish, exhausting, and guaranteed to cause panic. Stoicism asks you to redirect that sail. When an anxious thought enters your mind, pause and ask it this exact question. Is this within my control or outside of it? If it is outside your control, you must train your mind to say, then it is none of my business. It sounds harsh, but it is the ultimate form of self-preservation. Let go of the wind and focus entirely on your hands on the steering wheel. Lesson 2. Premeditatio malorum. Our second lesson is a practice that sounds counterintuitive at first. It is called premeditatio malorum, which translates from Latin to the premeditation of evils, or negative visualization. It was a favorite tool of the great Stoic statesman and writer Seneca. Modern psychology often tells us to practice toxic positivity, to only think about good outcomes, to visualize success, and to manifest wealth. But Stoicism says that this actually makes your anxiety worse. Why? Because when you only imagine perfect outcomes, you become deeply terrified of failure. The unknown becomes a monster waiting in the dark. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Instead of running away from your worst-case scenarios, premeditatio malorum demands that you sit down and look directly at them. If you are anxious about losing your job, don't ignore it. Sit quietly and ask yourself, what actually happens if I lose my job? I will feel embarrassed. I will have to look at my savings. I will have to cut back on expenses. I will have to update my resume and send out applications. Will I die? No. Will my life end? No. I have survived difficult days before, and I will survive this too. Lesson 6. Amor fati. Our sixth lesson is wrapped around a beautiful Latin phrase, coined later by philosophers, but perfectly embodying Stoic action. Amor fati, which means the love of fate. Anxiety often sounds like this. Why did this happen to me? Why did this flight have to be canceled? Why did this project have to fail? This ruins everything. We spend hours fighting reality, wishing that things were different than they actually are. This friction between reality and our wishes causes massive anxiety. Marcus Aurelius used a powerful metaphor to describe how a Stoic deals with unexpected changes. He wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Amor fati means you do not just tolerate the obstacles in your life, you choose to love them because they are opportunities to practice virtue. If your flight is delayed, a non-Stoic gets anxious and angry. A Stoic says, "Excellent. Now I have 3 uninterrupted hours to read my book or practice patience." If a business deal falls through, a Stoic says, "This is a chance to test my resilience and learn a better strategy." When you shift your mindset from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "How can I grow from this?" anxiety completely dissolves. Nothing can break you when you treat every single obstacle as fuel for your inner fire. Lesson 7. The view from above. Our 7th lesson is a visualization meditation that Marcus Aurelius practiced regularly. Historians call it the view from above. When we are stuck in an anxious loop, our perspective becomes hyper-narrow. We look at our problem under a giant magnifying glass. A single mistake at work or a minor argument feels like the literal end of the world. Our world shrinks down to the size of our panic. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to mentally fly high above the earth. Imagine leaving your body right now, rising through the ceiling of your room, up into the clouds. Look down at your neighborhood. Now look at your entire country. Now see the whole planet Earth, a tiny blue dot floating in an infinite, silent sea of space. Think about the billions of people who have lived before you, and the billions who will live after you. Look at your current anxiety from this cosmic perspective. How big is that problem really? How long will it matter? In 100 years, no one will remember this traffic jam, this awkward conversation, or this missed deadline. This is not about making your life feel meaningless. It is about making your worries feel beautifully small. It releases the heavy grip of self-importance that feeds anxiety, leaving you with a profound sense of peace and space. Lesson 8. Memento Mori and Conclusion. Our 8th and final lesson is perhaps the most famous Stoic reminder of all. Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. It sounds dark, but to the Stoics, death was the ultimate clarity tool. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Anxiety spends your most precious currency, your time, on things that do not matter. We spend hours worrying about what people think of us, lying awake anxious about petty dramas, or living in fear of future scenarios that may never arrive. Memento Mori snaps you out of this trance. It reminds you that your life is a brief, beautiful spark in the dark history of the universe. When you keep the reality of death close to your heart, it acts as a filter. It filters out all the trivial, anxious noises of daily life. You ask yourself, if this were my last week on Earth, would I spend it worrying about this? Of course not. You would focus on love, on stillness, on doing your best, and on appreciating the simple beauty of being alive. We have walked through the ancient medicine for the anxious mind. We have learned to separate what we can control from what we cannot. We have stared down our worst fears, anchored ourselves in the present, embraced discomfort, and looked at our lives from the stars. Anxiety will try to knock on your door again tomorrow. That is normal. It is part of being human. But you are no longer unarmed. You have the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus guarding your mind. The next time the storm rises, remember, you are not the storm. You are the deep, unshakable ocean underneath it. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to take one final, deep breath. Look back at this journey we just took. You didn't scroll through short distractions. You didn't run away from your thoughts. And you didn't let anxiety win. Instead, you chose stillness. You chose to sit down and train your mind with the wisdom of the world's greatest emperors and philosophers. That itself is your first victory. Remember, Stoicism is not about hiding your emotions or pretending that life isn't hard. It is about realizing that while you cannot control the world around you, you hold the absolute key to the kingdom inside your own mind. The storm will come back tomorrow. The noises of the world will try to pull you down, and anxiety might knock on your door again. But when it does, don't panic. Pause, look at it, and remember that you have the mental armor to survive it. Thank you so much for spending this valuable time with me today. If this session brought even a small amount of peace to your chaotic day, please make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your favorite lesson, and share this with someone who needs an anchor right now. Until next time, guard your thoughts, protect your inner peace, and as always, stay stoic.